The Titans traded a 2025 third-round pick for Chiefs cornerback L'Jarius Sneed, one of the most physical and aggressive press corners in the NFL. He had a great season statistically in 2023, 12 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, just 2 touchdowns allowed. He ranked in the top 10 in a lot of key coverage metrics like forced incompletion rate, yards per cover snap, EPA per target. Since 2021, he leads all cornerbacks in total press coverage snaps. Last year, he had the highest wide receiver 1 shadow rate. He's a player that's going to cover a team's top wide receiver and just beat them up at the line of scrimmage. As someone with limited cooking skills, I've always struggled to find healthy meals that taste good and don't take a long time to prepare, but Factor helps me avoid takeout and ordering in with delicious and nutritious, no-nonsense food that's ready quickly. Their meals come pre-prepared, ready to eat in 2 minutes, which is perfect for busy lifestyles. And if you want to try this out, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code ATOZFilm50 and get 50% off your first Factor box and free wellness shots for life. 2 free wellness shots from 3 available flavors for every order while you're an active subscriber. On this play from the wild card round, he hits Tyreek Hill with a 2-hand punch at the line of scrimmage. You can see the knockback he creates on initial contact, and then he drives him into the grass and ends his route. Right here on the backside of the play, he's showing more of a bail technique pre-snap, and then he gets up in DJ Moore's frame, puts him on his back. This play from the Jets game, it's 3rd and 11. He just fires his hands into Garrett Wilson's frame, doesn't even let him get off the line of scrimmage. So in man coverage, L'Jarius Sneed can keep receivers from getting into their routes, and as long as you got a pass rush that can get there relatively quickly, that's going to take away quarterbacks' first reads and hopefully result in a lot of sacks. Now, his aggressive play style does come with some drawbacks. He's not going to win every press coverage rep, so there are times he'll be over-aggressive at the line of scrimmage and get beat down the field if the receiver's able to work through that initial contact. Right here, he gives Ja'Marr Chase a 2-hand punch. He's able to power through that a little bit, and when Sneed's recovering downfield, he's holding onto his left arm, which draws a pass interference. Right here, another stiff punch at the line of scrimmage, moves Devontae Parker back about 2 yards. Once he swipes his hands down and accelerates downfield, Sneed does a decent job recovering, but they throw kind of a back shoulder fade and he can't adjust. Right here, he kind of overextends, leans too far forward. Deebo Samuel does a good job beating the press coverage here, and then when Sneed tries to recover, he gets caught up in traffic, so Samuel's wide open in the end zone, but Brock Purdy overthrows him because he's getting hit, and his extreme physicality will also result in some penalties. Right here, he just assaults Justin Jefferson on the backside of a run, but he gets his hands on his face mask and draws an illegal contact penalty. And then on this play, he's a little too grabby past the 5-yard window and he draws a penalty as well. He isn't the most fluid man coverage corner. What he can do at the line of scrimmage really sets himself up for success in the rest of the play, but he's really good at using his length at the catch point. You see that defending a lot of quick slants. He's got good timing raking through the hands, pretty good acceleration when he identifies the break. He's also really comfortable playing from trail technique, where he's purposely getting underneath leverage on the receiver and then reading their hips to identify the route. He had a couple nice reps of this against Stephon Diggs in week 14, which I think was one of his better one-on-one matchups from the season. And then you also see some impressive examples of flipping his hips and changing directions. Right here, Ja'Marr Chase is running a comeback. L'Jarius Sneed's playing with inside leverage, so Chase takes the inside release. When Chase breaks outside, Sneed's able to flip his hips, accelerate out of the break. Not a perfectly accurate throw, but good job by Sneed of timing his play on the ball and getting the pass breakup. And then on this play, he's in a side turn. He's able to flip and break on this deep out and close off the passing window. As far as limitations or weaknesses with Sneed in man coverage, the biggest thing I noticed was just sticking tight to the route break on like crossers or deep overs. When he's out of phase, it doesn't seem like he has great eye discipline or mirror ability over the middle of the field. Right here, he gets beat by Devontae Adams on this deep over, and then on this play against Garrett Wilson, he's late to react to the break. He allows some separation and gives up the catch. And then overall, like I said earlier, I think the fluidity and change of direction skills are just average with L'Jarius Sneed. It's still a lot better than someone like Sean Murphy-Bunting or even Christian Fulton, but against elite route runners, which he faced plenty of last year, he had some issues mirroring their breaks. And then he also struggles some sinking his hips and mirroring curls and comebacks. If you watch the Calvin Ridley video, you'll know that's one of his best routes, so that'll probably be a mismatch in practice. But when he gets a stop route, he is pretty reliant on staying in phase and holding onto the jersey to help himself decelerate. Penalties were a major issue for L'Jarius Sneed last year. He was called for 18 penalties in total, and he had the highest penalty rate of any cornerback in the NFL. In his first season, he had 3, 9, and 5, so it could just be an outlier, but the major causes of his penalties were just being overly grabby. You can see right here, he grabs onto Jerry Jeudy's shoulder when he's breaking on this blaze out, and then a few times where he wasn't able to turn around and locate the football deep down the field. 4 of his penalties last year actually came in week 8 against Denver, and he had a couple of those on go routes to Cortland Sutton. He's a good tackler and an active run defender. His first 3 seasons he played in the slot, so he's comfortable being in the run fit, shedding blocks. He can crash down into the flat from zone coverage and lay hits, and he had probably one of the better plays in Chiefs history in the conference championship, forcing this fumble on Zay Flowers. Flowers comes open on this drag route, Sneed's in off coverage with outside leverage, so he recovers back over the middle of the field. As Flowers is reaching into the end zone, he punches the ball out and the Chiefs recover. So overall, there was no reason for the Titans not to make this trade. I had said beforehand that a 2025 third is the most I would be willing to give up, and the contract to me is perfectly reasonable. Every year there's 5 or 6 teams that just have so much cap space that I'm not really worried about them giving out big contracts, and the Titans are one of those teams. They have to fill their roster with good players somehow. We see every year a majority of the free agency and trade additions don't end up working out, and cornerback's a volatile position, so definitely got to wait and see, but on paper this is the best cornerback room that I've ever seen the Titans have. Roger McCreary in the slot last year was one of the Titans' best defensive players. Awuzie is a solid cornerback too, and Sneed is, I think, clearly a top 10 cornerback in the NFL, and it also gives them more flexibility heading into the draft. They'll probably still add a cornerback somewhere on day 3, but we had kind of penciled them in as taking a corner with one of their first 3 picks, and I don't expect them to do that at this point. That allows them to take offensive tackle, receiver, and then focus on some other needs like edge rusher, linebacker, defensive lineman.